Good morning, this is Jack from Charting Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Tuesday, the 14th of October. My disclaimer, I did this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to show you trading signals. Right, this is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com, and it's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. Right, okay, let's have a look at what's happening on ES. ES is back below the monthly pivot and maybe converting it back to resistance. This may be setting up a retest of the low on Friday. And I've got more to say about that because I'm going to be looking at the possible topping patterns we've got on the RTH indices. No current divergence. NQ still above the monthly pivot, but again, more than halfway back to Friday's low. We may be heading back for a retest. RTY still holding the monthly pivot and weekly pivot, so as long as it holds that, then that's great. If it breaks below it, then, well, as I said, we might be retesting Friday's lows. And YM the same, obviously well back below the monthly pivot already. DAX, we've gone and retested Friday's low already. Now, this could be a bottoming setup here, and I'm wondering about a possible double bottom because it's quite a nice one on ESTX. We'll see whether we find support here, but if we don't, we may well be heading back into a retest of Friday's lows. What would that mean? Okay, looking at SPX. We've got a possible head and shoulders forming here. I gave the ideal right shoulder high at about 6,700 area yesterday morning, and this could be good enough. Not quite as nice as the one on the Qs. The Qs, we got back almost exactly into the right area for the ideal right shoulder high, and this is a pretty nice looking head and shoulders forming. Looking at Dia, could this be a head and shoulders? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this would have a lower target, if so, because this would be a down-sloping head and shoulders, and actually, potentially could, if it broke down and made target, could get us back pretty close to the August low. Looking at IWM, bear with me a moment. All right, IWM, we've got pretty nice looking possible right shoulder on a head and shoulders, although to be honest, you could read this very easily as a double top instead, and I probably would. But if we got up into the 247 area, then I'd probably be interpreting it as a head and shoulders, as it would more clearly be one of those. But really, you could go either way. But either way, there is a pretty nice looking topping pattern here. Looking at the daily charts, on the daily charts, we broke pretty hard below the daily middle band on Friday, and we broke back above it yesterday, which was encouraging. But the main thing I'm really looking at here is what's happening on SPX and the Qs. Looking at SPX, we back tested the daily middle band and it held. So we would need to go higher, really, to be more encouraging. On the Qs, we have the daily middle band at 599, so we closed significantly back above it. That could get rejected, but this is quite encouraging for a break back above. The Qs really are leading the pack, and I've got the nicest patterns at the moment. On Dia, we closed a little below it, but basically back tested. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Looks a little fragile, but is encouraging, weakly encouraging for a breakup. All right, looking at the others, let's have a look at DAX. DAX, we've not really made a great deal of impact on the downside here. We didn't even actually get back to the daily middle band. I wouldn't be surprised to see this head back towards the highs, but we could be forming a little head and shoulders here that would get us down below the daily middle band. On Nikkei, Nikkei's actually held up better than I expected. I was thinking there'd probably be more blowback from the governing coalition collapsing. But at the moment, it's not actually dropped much, and we've not really even started to move back to the daily middle band in the 46,000 area. Seeing how that goes, I would say that there is an RSI2. I tend to watch this for very short-term direction, but you can see it actually delivers quite a lot. But we've got a little RSI2 sell signal here, which is suggesting some more downside. All right, let's have a look at DX. DX is coming back into a retest this high. Obviously, the overall picture here is pretty bullish, at least up into a retest of 104, but we need to break over double bottom resistance, which is, well, here. So waiting to see if it can do that. On ZB, I was expecting to see a retest this high, and we've seen it. This is a potential second high of a double top. On ZN, we haven't reached the retest of the high yet. We do have a possible alternate bear flag, which I'll be watching if we reach this trend line here and reverse there today. So watching that with interest. CL, now I was sort of seeing some interesting news this morning. And that was basically talking about hang on 1 second. Let's see if it's still up on my news side. All right, it was basically talking about the increase in production on oil and large oil surpluses potentially for next year. This could fuel a more significant move down here, although I'm not really looking, well, overall, we've got a bullish setup here from ideally a bit lower. But we will see how that goes. But I'm still leaning towards this going down towards 56. The real support here that I would like to see not broken is in the 50 area. And we will see if we get there, we'll see how that develops. But I am thinking that we've got pretty good support there because an awful lot of the oil being produced worldwide really has a break-even cost in the $40 to $50 area. So if we get down to $50, that's kind of pretty close to break even for a lot of them. We might see that production started reducing just because the more expensive sources weren't making much money. HO, so I'm kind of thinking of 50 as a floor. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be one, and we do have an overall bullish looking setup, but we'll see. Do we have a potential double bottom here on CL? Yes, short term. HO, do we have one? Yes, we do. RBOB, not quite, because we haven't gone back and retested this low yet. NG isn't stopping here at the moment, but we may be bottoming out. We've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed, possible very, very small double bottom here. Watching to see if we get a rally and how far that gets, but because we have failed back into a retest of this low, this is potentially a large double bottom. And as I said, we are in a seasonally strong period. We'll see how that goes. GC has gone higher. SI has gone higher. Doesn't look like a double top on SI. Doesn't really look like a double top on GC either. Palladium could be a double top. Platinum, I'm still leaning towards seeing a retest of the high. We'll see how that goes. But we could be coming down here anyway. HG, I'd ideally like to see a retest of this high. It doesn't mean we're necessarily going to get one, but if we go A, B, C, then that would increase the odds that this would be a bull flag. And I don't particularly want this to come back. I'd like this to continue down into a retest of this low here at 4.38. We'll see. Looking at the other currencies, I would say there's a nice looking little potential double bottom on Euro, and we've got another one on GBP. USD JPY, this kind of looks like a part formed flag, and I'm wondering whether this is going to head down for a bit there. USD CAD has broken up over the annual pivot. No obvious topping pattern, tiny bit of negative divergence that I've not marked in there. Australian dollar heading lower at the moment, and NZ the same. Nothing really suggests bottoming action. KC is still struggling at the monthly pivot, and we're waiting for a clear directional break one way or the other. SB went back and retested the low as expected. It is not turning yet. This is a potential double bottom, but the lower this goes, then the less likely this is to be a double bottom. A possible weak 6-minute buy signal is brewing, and waiting to see if we get a rally from here, which we might. CC, wondering about a rally here. We've now got a full 60-minute buy signal fixed. Bottoming action hasn't really resolved into any clear bottoming pattern yet. CT has gone lower. I was looking here, and I've got a nice little trend line here. So I am wondering about that, but I don't really have anything strongly to match it to. I'll be having a look more at that. I'll have more tomorrow morning, and we'll see whether that holds. Lumber, I'm wondering whether this little double bottom top, the breakdown is rejecting back up into this high, possibly set up a larger double top. So double top breakdown. If it rejects, that would set up a double top, which would be more of an appropriate size to go back and retest this low, which is kind of a lot I'm leaning towards. CW, we got a potential double bottom here, but again, we're trickling down through it. But we've reached my retest of 495 area, and so I'm wondering about a serious reversal. We could see a serious bull move start here. Same with corn, and we've got a potential double bottom here, although it's a bit oversized. We'll see how that goes, but really I'm thinking we could see some pretty nice bull moves start on wheat and corn here. On lumber, Sorry, on soy. We've got a double top here, which is broken down, almost made target, but I'm wondering about the possible little double bottom that is formed here. Ideally, it would go down and make this target, which is in the 998 area. On ZL, this looks like a bear flag for me. Live cattle has retested the high after the not particularly classical, but nonetheless very valid triangle. Broke up and made the target. Waiting to see if this is going to reverse here in a double top or just continue higher. On HE, we've broken slightly over declining resistance. Obviously, we've made the double top target, waiting to see if we're going to see a more serious rally. And ideally, looking for a reversal pattern to deliver that. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions. Right, in that case, let's sort out on questions. The key today is whether we hold on ES, is whether we can hold the monthly pivot as support or resistance. If we hold it as resistance and we start heading down significantly, we're probably going to see a retest of Friday's low, and we could, at that stage, start seeing a series of large topping patterns that may be breaking down. So that's what I'll be watching out for today. All right, everyone take care. I will catch you guys tomorrow. And everyone take care.